Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone, dreaming of a better home. We want to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the brujas let this last.
I don't know.
That was the great sounds of Watts with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, Easy Bluez is in the building. Easy Bluez, you are better with introductions more than me. Who do we have this day on Behind the Brand?
First and foremost, before we get into that, I just want to tell everyone that's listening, it's National Appreciation of Prestige Day. So everyone, let's take a second to appreciate Prestige. We love him. And also, thank you all for tuning in for 2 years of this fantastic show. We love and respect all of you and would not be able to do this without your guys' love and support. That being said, we have a tendency to run in life. We have a tendency to get trapped up and to just live. And then we just start to work to live. And we lose this one important factor, this kind of ember that keeps everything burning, and that's the purpose. You need to be able to live with purpose. You need to be able to strive for purpose. You need to be able to truly understand what your purpose is. Now, you could be an art-driven soul like the amazing Nia Bussey, who is here with us today. She's an art-driven soul who has come up with, styled with purpose. Taken the every aspect of who she is and has made it into this incredible brand. And we are here today to put our hands together, not if you're driving. If you're driving, keep your hands at 10 and 2. We don't want any accidents, okay? But put your hands together mentally for someone who truly understands that a brand is every part of your personality, cranked up to 11. And with that, we have styled with purpose. Thank you, Nia, for being here. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just super excited. This is my first interview. I'm bragging to everybody I'm going to be on the radio. But yeah, I'm definitely I'm super excited. And I love the way that you introduced me, because that is definitely everything that my brand is, everything that I am. And like I said, purpose, it all comes from my name. Nia is the 5th principle of Kwanzaa, which means purpose. And growing up and stuff, I never really paid that any attention. But my mother, she always would say, your name means purpose. You have a purpose. And I'm just okay, whatever you mean, lady. You think your parents are crazy. I mean, I still think she's crazy, but she has some certain things that, they instill into you. And growing up, I'm from New Haven, born and raised. Let's see, middle schools, I went to Lincoln Bassett, Wexler Grant. So grew up right in the hood of what they say. And I used to just get dressed and people used to be wow, that's so Tania. And it's what are you talking about? I put the clothes on. What do you mean? I can't dress like that. I can't do stuff like that. And I never knew that was me having my own fashion sense. And at that time, I knew I was interested in fashion. And one of my things that I'm big on with teaching the younger kids is that you can go for your art dreams first. Mm. Whatever creatively, whatever you think that it's in your heart to do, go for that first. I left Connecticut to go to college. I went to a HBCU. I went to Tuskegee University, which, best year of my life. And I definitely appreciated going to a HBCU coming from my background, my culture. I mean, I went to sound school in high school, which being somebody who grew up in the hood, I appreciated my time at Sound School because I learned so many things different from my peers. Like I raised lobsters growing up in high school. I have my boating license. Like we can all go rent out a boat right now. Like that's certain things that I can do that I know a lot of my peers in New Haven don't have that underneath their belt. But going to a HBCU from that setting, it was one, a culture shock, and definitely a culture shock even coming from New Haven. It's like, yeah, we think, oh, it's so small here, there's nothing to do, until you go to somewhere where there's nothing, literally nothing. So you're like no buses to get around, no anything. Like you realize how much of a city New Haven is. And one thing I can say, being away from home, I don't think I've ever really had the stigma that everybody has, like, oh, I hate New Haven so much. It sucks here. I hate it. And I just think those are the people who, have things going on with themselves.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah, I mean, essentially,
that is absolutely true.
As a teenager, I went to Tuskegee. Unfortunately, my family, we couldn't continue paying for school because it's like really expensive. And at HBCUs, they don't give you a lot of financial aid. So I think freshman year tuition was $34,000. They only gave me $11,000 for financial aid. So yeah, I went and I lived that year. I mean, I lived. I don't even think I remember doing school. Like, I don't even remember doing school, but it was an HBCU. I'm like, I'm away from home.
Right.
I lived my life. Best year ever, won't regret it. But I always knew going to Tuskegee or going to college, like the thing that I said in my head is like, I know I want to do fashion, but it wasn't something in my head that was a feasible goal for me because it wasn't something that in school or even around here in New Haven that I was being taught that I could accomplish. So I'm just in my head like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to Tuskegee, which I know is a great school, know the things that to do. I'm gonna go through business school. So my major when I got there was sales and marketing. I always knew I wanted to do business, but I was like, at first, I mean, I know I have to put myself through this regular schooling, get a regular job. And then once I make that money, then I can put myself to do what I really want to do. That was my thought at first, but then, everything changes and God is big on showing you, what path is for you. So I was trying to find people to help me co-sign on a loan to go back to Tuskegee. And well, I'm 18. I was just living my life. I'm like, I'm not going back to Connecticut. Like, I'm not going back there. Like, I want to have fun. So I found someone who was a family friend, because people show you their true colors and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But she was in the Navy, coming back from being stationed in Italy. She got stationed in San Diego. And she was like, I can't help you co-sign on a loan, but do you want to move to San Diego? I'm 18 years old. I've been working all summer. It seems like all hope is lost. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I moved to San Diego in a week. I had never been on a plane before. That was my first time getting on a plane. And in that week of me deciding like, okay, I'm going to take my life from East Coast to West Coast, I was like, I'm going to go to school for fashion. Like, I'm going to Cali. Why not? So I looked into some things and it just all worked out. I ended up going to a community college, San Diego Mesa College, which has one of the best fashion programs, which, some people are like, oh, like community colleges get discriminated against sometimes. Like, oh, it's just a community college. Like, you're not really getting everything that you need, everything. But no, that's not the truth. Sometimes you go to community colleges to save money. Shoot, I went to school. My financial aid paid for my schooling the first year that I was there. Stayed in California for a year, got my residency. Tuition is free out there. So
that's crazy.
No debt.
That is definitely crazy.
Except for that year that I went to Tuskegee, I have no debt for school. And using that, I got my degree. I thought I was done with my degree. So I was in Cali for a very long time. So when I moved there, that had to be 2016. I just came back to Connecticut 2020. That like people in Cali are weird. Everybody doesn't think so. Everybody's like, "Oh, Cali, it's Cali, like it's so lit." Like, why? Everybody's always judging me, like, "Why'd you come back home?" I'm like, nobody
Question,
really.
Tania. For 18 years old, that's a lot of memory. Do you have a photographic memory?
Yeah.
Because I can remember half the stuff I remember when I was 18. That's impressive. That's
But
impressive to have all the information. Huh? What's
I
crazy
can't.
about it?
I can't remember what I ate yesterday. If I thought about it,
Oh my goodness.
it's really sad.
Right.
I definitely also think that I remember this so much because it's just so big to
Mm-hmm.
who I am and how my journey is going. I moved to California and you know things happened out to me out there that it would
Right.
have it would have sent a lot of people home. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people home. Like I said, people show their true colors. The person that I was living with decided to just show me that she wasn't the person that I thought she was.
Of course.
In California, everybody there, they have money. Everybody in California has money. So they're working from like 10 to 2, which to us, that's not a full work day. You can't make enough money to live if you're working 10 to 2. And then there's me. I'm either on my way to school, then I'm going to work, or I'm going to work, and then I'm on my way to school. I'm not going to get down into everything, but
of course.
There was multiple times in Cali where I was almost homeless. Almost homeless. I moved. The homeless people robbed my U-Haul truck, stole everything I owned, like everything I owned, which was like a month before I ended up studying abroad when I was in school, which is also one of the biggest things I've ever done. And during that time too, because living in Cali wasn't all, it wasn't glitter for me. It was glitter because I was doing something that I'm like, this is my goal. This is what I want. Now, my mom and my sister, every single day when something that was happening, they were like, "Girl, come home." Like, like come home. Like it got to a point out there that once I wasn't with that person that offered me to come out there anymore, I was by myself. So being by myself and wanting to get to the point that I wanted to get to, I just decided to go through everything that I did. And I just know a lot of people would have folded, but I'm a very
and that's amazing because it really stays 100% true to your brand. Yeah. You were doing it with a purpose. You had your end goal in mind. And that's really what I want the people to take home that are listening to this. You had trials, you had tribulations, all those different things, but it is the classic hero's journey. And I think that might be one of the reasons why your memory of it is so true, because it is that thing that got us to this point. And in evolving to this point, sans the heartache, sans, those different type of things, what 100% made you want to do it on your own? Because you can still go through.
On my own, I gotta say WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Raised, Elm City made, EZ Bluez. Go right ahead, EZ. I'm sorry to lose that train of thought.
Well, and how do you transition from student to brand owner? Instead of going from student to somebody who worked. Yeah.
One thing that I could say is every day in class, like when you're going through, because this is not just something that you can apply to fashion. When you go to school and you're learning how to do something, like the teacher's always telling you, like, make a mock something or pretend like this, and for an assignment and stuff. And just all my assignments, I geared towards building my business. So I was building my business while doing these assignments. So everything that I was learning wasn't just to use in the future. I was really applying it and tweaking things before I really put myself out there. So essentially, before I started my business, I had like my business plan, I had my logo, I had everything, and that's just from my teachings at school. But I just want everybody to know, even though I probably sound a little accomplished in some things, it took me a while. So Style with Purpose, like I said, I started fashion school in 2016. I probably came up with the name Style with Purpose 2017. And summer of 2018, I'm like, okay, this is my business. This is what I'm going to do. I didn't start taking clients and really doing stuff until 2021.
Right. And that's the slow process, though, because you first have to have that seed, and then you have to plant that seed, and then you have to water and nurture the soil and everything around it. So it is going to be a slow, beautiful process and painful.
It's, so painful. Having a business, I know, and that's sometimes what I say. I say with, we're in New Haven, and it does sometimes seem like it's a popularity contest out here. And sometimes it could discourage you, and it can make you stop wanting to do things. But only thing I tell myself is, when you're passionate about something and it's where you see yourself going, you don't mind the other people, because at the end of the day, everybody has to find their niche. Everybody has to find what's perfect for them. So of course people are going to dabble in little things. And there's been times where I had a friend who, because during the pandemic, I started doing graphics. I had a friend who, I get on the internet one day and she's starting to do graphics. And I'm like, man, like, are you just gonna steal my business like that? If you know that's what I'm doing. But then one of the biggest things, I don't remember where I heard it at or where I saw it at, but one of the biggest things that I like to remember is, they say, like, you go into the bread aisle, how many brands of bread are in the If it's your purpose, and if it's what God says is for you, he's going to make room for you. So no matter what anybody else is doing, you just got to keep going, and things will go right for you once you put in the right energy, the right amount of manifestation, the right amount of work. Like this is my revelation within 2022. Like 2021, 2020, things were hard. Excuse my dog. She's thirsty.
That's fine. As long as your dog doesn't curse on air, we'll be fine.
We're good. So I left California finally, thinking that I was done with school. I'm like, I finished, blah, blah. God, he has a sense of humor. And it's like, yeah, girl, you're done. You're done. I really went through everything I did, because I'm not leaving to the fat lady sings. Like, I went through all of this mess. You think I'm about to leave here without the degree that I came here for? That's what I used to tell my mother and my sister all the time. And just, your family, they're protective of you. They're just like, come home. We see you going through so much. We see you struggling. Like, I went through a horrible depression out there. Like, came home, I was way skinnier than I was. Like, it was bad, but it wasn't bad because I knew what the goal was going to be. And even still, I'm not all the way there, but like, I know that once what is promised to me comes, it's going to make everything I've been through worth it 100%. And it also helps me with my humility. I'm very humble. Like, I want to be a person that teaches others, helps others. I don't want to be famous. Like how I get on the internet and I see my peers, like, they just want to be millionaires and do all this because they just want to be seen. I don't want to be seen. I don't care about that. I care about making art, making things look good. And I want to make people happy, like with that type of stuff. I'm not making people happy. I want people to be happy doing what makes them happy, because I'm learning that. And
well, it's a glorious story, because really, in hearing your entire story, before we've even gotten into what exactly your business is, every aspect of it is because you lived with intention. Your intention was the purpose. It was to accomplish a goal and to get to where you are right now. Now, where you are sitting right now, let's let the people know, what is your business in particular? Because we know who you are, but now what are the services you offer?
Style with Purpose, essentially Style with Purpose was made just to be a styling business. Like I said, people used to always tell me that my personal style was cool, and what my goal was for that was I wanted to help everybody else find their personal style. Like, I didn't want people looking at me being like, oh, that looks so good on you, I can't wear that. Like, let's not think like that, girl. Like, let's get you something that works for you so you feel confident and you know you look good too. So like that was my thought from the beginning. And that's still something that I like to do and what I want to do and what is the core of Style with Purpose. But like, the pandemic made every creative, every entrepreneur open up and find something new for them. And I always knew that I wanted to work with a team to do things, but I could never find that team. I can never find some people who are like, okay, girl, like, let's work and let's all get better so that we can get to this goal. You know, you have so many people that think they're worth so much and their work is mediocre. They're not going through the process. They're not going through trial and error and learning. They're also not learning. Like, that's why I appreciate the fact that I even went to school, because there is a right and a wrong way to a lot of things. And if you're going to have a craft, perfect it, learn on it. So during the pandemic, that's when I became a graphic designer. I had ideas in my head of things I wanted to do. So I became a photographer. I became a set designer. So Style with Purpose is, I just came up with it in 2022. I guess I can't figure out what to say about Style with Purpose, but me as a person, I'm an overall visionary. I got it all for you. And Style with Purpose, currently we're offering photography services, set designing services, graphic design, and wardrobe styling. And I love every aspect of my business, and I put my all into it, because I want my clients to, one, want to come back. Two, I want them to learn. And I also want their business to go, like, I want it to soar. Like, I've had a client who, like with graphic design, you know, certain graphic design businesses, like, they charge per re-envision that you make. I'm like, I know. And I've got some clients that, you know, they make you think like, man, I should have just made you pay for everything, every waking moment. Like, some clients are just gonna get underneath your skin. It's just like, it's just people. And owning a business and being a business owner, entrepreneur, you have to learn how to deal with people. And even me, I'm 24. I'm big on, I have a big personality, and I don't let people talk to me some type of way sometimes, but I've had to learn how to be a business owner. Like, I've had to learn how to tone down. Sometimes you just gotta let people say what they say. And, you know, some clients just aren't for you. And I'm learning that every single day as I go along. I'm learning, like, there's one, you can't please everybody. Nope. I've definitely got, like, down and out about myself and, you know, thinking like maybe I'm not as good in what I'm doing than I think because I've had a super difficult client. And I'm saying this because I don't want anybody else to think like that. It's not you. Sometimes it really is other people. But you just have to learn it, just learning how to deal with those clients, learn how to go through the motions and still knowing that as long as you put the work and the time into your craft, that you're good. There's gonna be some people who think what you do is stupid. They're gonna think what you do is ugly. And those are the people who honestly sometimes don't have anything going on for themselves. They don't know who they are or what they can do. And a lot of criticism stems from jealousy, and it's just like it's usually they're people like, and I've definitely had to get to a point now where I'm like, I know what my business is. I know what my brand is. I know what I bring to the table and how I care for my clients. So if I have a client who is, you know, being difficult with me or just not seeing the vision, I absolutely have no problem now giving people their money back and saying, have a nice. I'm a person too. And I gotta, you have to do things for your own sanity sometimes, because sometimes people will drive you completely nuts. And it's just everything is a learning process. And I'm big on that. And I'm also getting bigger on, you know, speaking the things I want into my life more.
Right.
I was big on that, but I definitely think when I was in California, I definitely think I was more in survivor mode. You know, when you're in survivor mode, it definitely makes you go harder. It pushes you in the thing. But I chose to stay in survivor mode and not go back home for help because I knew what my goal was. And coming home, like I said, God let me think I was done with school. He's like, okay, you're done. I moved home finally, and then my school wrote me like February of 2020 and was like, oh, like you're missing 2 classes. So I finished classes online. I got my degree May of 2021. But like I'm still, because tuition is free, I'm still taking classes. And only reason why I started doing that is because, like I said, the pandemic brought other things to me that I didn't essentially think were going to be underneath my branch of business. And because I think like I do, that you have to learn about what you're doing. Like right now, I'm currently, even though I took it before, I'm retaking a Photoshop class, I'm taking a graphic design class, and I'm taking a photography class, just so that there's things that I can say that I know. Yes, being self-taught is great, but if you can at least read a book on your craft, look up articles or something, like teach yourself the history of it. There's principles to everything, and there's a right and wrong way for most things. Like I've got with the styling part, I've got into it with people on Twitter because I've said some, you know, Twitter is a big world, and you know they eat you up there. I said something along the lines, what was it? The girl had on like black, brown, and I think like this other color. And from the things that I know and the fashion principles that I know, she looked crazy. But Twitter, they didn't like the fact that I said that. And you know, you can go, and I only say that because you can argue with every single body in your life, or you can know your purpose. You can know your calling, and you can know what God has for you and be sure of it, even though there's other people coming at you telling you something different. It's like, if you have that feeling, just go for it. Don't care what anybody says. Like I'm a passionate person. I don't know if
no, you definitely are a passionate person, and I'm loving every second of it. But I want to kind of get into the client aspect of it. by as you continue to evolve through, and it really is a matter of evolution. And I love that it is all encompassing. It's absolutely amazing. As you started to go through like the graphic design aspect, because I'm looking at it as style with purpose. Is style, most people just think about it as a clothing aspect. Mm-hmm. But you're styling your brand. You could style an office space. There's many different things that it can happen. So when you're dealing kind of like with the graphic design aspect of it, as someone who is taking control of your brand, and you are able to cut people and understand that I should not work with this person or different things there. What do you look for in an acceptable client?
So, an acceptable client to me is somebody who is sure of what they want to do. Somebody who you have to at least have a vision. I am a creative person, and I've had many people come, and some people don't trust themselves or trust their creativity. So, you'll hear a lot of people like, oh, you're more creative than me. Like, I don't have that in me. And then they go and they describe something and you're like, you got it. Like, like some people have to have that confidence, but I like for my clients to at least have a vision for themselves, because especially with graphic design, it's not my business. It's
right.
And yeah, you can tell me what you want, and as the graphic designer, I can put it together creatively, but you can't just tell me just go on and do whatever, because it's not my business. And I think I just was dealing with a client like that, and I just sent her money back because she just was like, told me little things like a color. She showed she had this business that, and it's odd for me to say it because I have a business, a brand that has so many aspects to it, but it's not so many that it's too much. She had a business where it was just like she was trying to put everything under the sun, and
everything but the kitchen sink. Yeah, no, it's cool, and that's incredible, because that's
you can't
no, it's definitely it's an incredible thing, because editing is so super important. And someone who is as multifaceted as you are, there's definitely those points where editing can be a matter of saving hours, if not days, on a particular project. And to truly understand, a lot of people are not, and I'm blown away by how much your story really is just the story of purpose. Because it really, it is living the purpose-filled life. And I'm sure you've read the book. It's incredible to see this evolution. And as you're dealing with the editing aspects, and as you're bringing on new things because you need to evolve, that's the way things go. What is going to be your truest passion throughout this entire aspect? Go ahead, brother.
Before we get there, we just let you know we're on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Behind the brand, myself, Prestige, and Easy Bluez. Go ahead, Easy.
So what is now the passion piece of Style with Purpose?
So essentially what my passion is I just like creating. I like being able to do something creative every single day. Now, I'm not completely there yet. It's the goal though. And essentially right now I do have my own business, and what I see Style with Purpose as, I just see it as a stepping stone right now, because I've always wanted to be in the fashion world. Like I said, I don't want to be famous, but I see myself styling. I see myself doing runway sets for before. I see myself doing photography sets for Vogue. I see myself doing all that type of stuff, being behind the scenes and just honestly just creating on a different level. And I only say those people because they have the budget. They have the budget. When you have the budget, there's so many things that you can do. So I do think that Style with Purpose as far as taking clients, I think that will be short-lived. So I definitely
Right.
think anybody that hears this or knows me, and I say, get it while it's hot, get some work done by me while it's hot, because once I find that company, or I'm also at the point where with my photography and the things I'm doing with set designing, like I'm building my portfolio every time I do something new. So I love clients that bring me out of my box. I love to just I'll sit here one day and I'm like, oh, like this is cool. Like, let me do that. Like I now have access to studio space and cameras and different things to now I can go out and create a vision if I like to. So I'm currently just building my way up and to get there so that one day I can just hand my booklet into somebody and be like, listen, this is what I've been working on for 10,
Right.
maybe however long it takes me to get there. Like I'm okay with waiting for the blessing, because I know it's coming, and I know every single time
Right.
that I do something, it's preparing me, putting it in fruition, and just giving me understanding of what's to come, because God is never going to give you anything unless you're prepared for it.
Sure.
So I'm just
I
every day,
fully agree.
right? Every day I'm just taking it in. Everything that I do, I'm taking it in. Even if it's a client that's difficult, I'm taking it in, because one day I'll meet, like, what if I'm working with a celebrity that is like,
Word.
what
Well,
if I'm working
speaking of what's to come, well, you know, coming up into the spring and the summer, which are huge fashion times and things like that. What is the big project that you can talk about that you have this spring or summer?
So this summer, well, I do have, there is a young lady in Connecticut that I've met. Her name is Chastity. She puts on fashion shows, which is something, you know, I like. And I did one for her. And as a stylist, she's a really cool girl. You know, when you do fashion shows and stuff, it's more like designers that get a section because, of course, they made these clothes and things. But as a stylist, she gave me the opportunity to have my own models and to put together outfits based on the theme of the fashion show. And she actually has a fashion show coming up in, let me see, in July, which is the week after birthday. It's gonna be based on it's gonna be based on, you know, mental health. So I am somebody who has been diagnosed with ADHD and I have social anxiety. So I've been thinking about what I'm going to do for this this set. I'm thinking like I want to go big, because last time I did it, it was just to learn. And now she had her own things that were set, like certain mental health issues that she wanted to highlight. But I personally asked if I can do something for ADHD. So I'm just thinking of a different way. I want to do something like, you know, like how Rihanna, have you seen or looked at any clips of how her runway shows are just so different from the normal? I want to try something like that this summer. So the show is going to be July 31st, which is cool for me. It was going to be the weekend of my birthday. So I was like, but it's going to be July 31st. So I've had a couple of clients, but I definitely do like, I like you know, some people, it's hard as an entrepreneur because, you know, you have some days where you're booming, and then you have some days where there's nobody. I can make $500 in one day and make no money for the next 3 days. But as a creative, I've been learning to appreciate those 3 days where I don't have to deal with the client, because as the creative that I am, and knowing that this business isn't the all say all, the end of it, that I have my time to think about and plan the things that I want to do. So definitely throughout this springtime, I'm gonna be planning my little runway because last time, like I said, anything you do, anything in life,
Right.
if it's fashion, if it's basketball, whatever you do, you do something first and you learn what worked, what didn't work, what to do next, what's something you want to try to do better. And that's what's on my mind for this next fashion show. So, sitting out writing the pros and cons of what happened last time. Pros and cons are a big, big part of my life, not just with my business, with everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what to do, my mom has always told me, write out a list, pros and cons, and help you make a decision. And I used to think, I told you, I used to think she was crazy. She is a little crazy, but
Hey,
it really helps. It really helps.
Genius comes from madness sometimes.
That's true.
Yeah, I think she's definitely passed it down. Have you like ever found yourself, doing something and you're like, man, like I remind myself of my mom, or I'm acting like my dad right now. Like, it's like we're getting older and we're turning into our parents. It's like really crazy. But
it's interesting because go ahead, Pri.
No, you go.
No, honestly, I just want to know, what do you have planned just for the future of your business? What's guided up and what's lined up for the rest of the year happening for you, and just more opportunities for you being an entrepreneur this year?
So right now, it just happened in December. The reason of why everything has gotten so better for me with photography is because I have been blessed with a mentor. His nickname, we'll call him G3. His studio is Studio 95 in Milford, Connecticut. And he's a great guy. Published artist, Kodak Awards. I met him by working with another photographer. I had helped her on set one time. And he's the type of person where anybody that comes in his studio has to learn, regardless if you're a watcher, if you're a model, if you're in there, he's gonna teach you. So from December on, he gave me the opportunity to come into his studio. My first camera that I have is not a great camera. So like when I started in the beginning of the pandemic, I honestly was like, I don't think photography is for me. Like I'm not doing a good job. I don't know it, but I sat and he's been teaching me. And right now, my biggest goal is continue learning what I am with photography so that eventually I can start, purchasing my own lights and my own things, because he's teaching me how to use all the different types of lights. And that's one thing that I'm very thankful for, because I'm never the type to like throw salt and things of such. But if I'm on the internet and I'm looking at a lot of these things that these local photographers are offering to people and such, and it's not bad, because it's okay, because most people aren't trying to do what I do, but a lot of these photos are in the same lighting. Not much that differentiates the things. And my mentor, he likes to call it painting with light, because it actually is, it's an art. And as somebody who is a visionary, as somebody who likes to create sets and do different things, I don't always want to be working in the same light. So I do have my own studio that I share with my sister, who is an event planner, but I haven't been working there because I don't have the equipment. So throughout the year, my goal is to, get as much knowledge as I can, save my money up for that equipment so that I can so that Style with Purpose can eventually have its own permanent home where I'm not, I love G, but eventually, you have to stop paying out for time to be able to keep the money and for other things and my own props and my own things. But even when I have my studio up to par, I'm always still going to be down to work with other photographers and working and other things. And as somebody who takes pictures, I'm definitely always big for doing other stuff behind the camera, because that's just me. I love styling. I love set designing. And I didn't know I loved set designing until I actually went to London with fashion program. And it was dope going to London because we didn't like sit in a classroom all day long. Our learning was going to tours and going into these different places and learning about things. So we were in a theater and I'm like learning about set designing. My eyes were just bigger than my head. And I'm like, oh, wow, like I like that. So that was 2018. So ever since 2018, I'm like set designing is something big for me. And like I said,
well, there's been a lot of big things. There's been a lot of big things. Unfortunately, the Apollo curtain is closing down upon us, and our time here is done. But I would like to just thank you so much for being here, and I'd like to give you this opportunity to tell people really quick how they can get in touch with you and how they can contact you.
Once again, I want to thank you for the opportunity. You get on Facebook, you get on these things, and a lot of people are either scammers or they're just trying to get to you. And it's been so genuine with you guys, and definitely gonna make sure I shout you guys out. You can find me at stylew.purpose on Facebook and Instagram. I'm very responsive, and like I said, I love for clients who bring me all the creativeness, if you have a crazy idea, just bring it to me. We'll make it happen.
Definitely.
All right.
Thank you so much, Tania. We appreciate you right here on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made, EZ Bluez. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great rest of the day.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Spending time all alone, sending my songs through the phone, dreaming of a better home, while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the Brujas let this last.
I don't know.